Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM20. It's career mode. It's episode 133. We're at Vuelta. It's stage 13 of 21. It's one of the few sprint stages that we actually get in this race. Peloton is somewhat split, 156 riders. The 4 riders in the break had a huge lead today, and they still have a decent lead at this point. At a minute and a half, but with only 4 riders left of the original group, there's not as big of a threat. And with this climb to come, you would expect that gap's going to come down pretty quick unless they are strong climbers. But then they've got to deal with over the flat for a good long distance. Definitely should be a sprint stage today. And we'll see if we can get our team up and over this one. Right now, Smith and Alves Machado a little bit further back. And I'd like them to be this early in the climb, so we'll up his effort to make sure he doesn't drop back too far too fast. Gazzoli's starting to slip back slightly, but he's doing okay. Energy-wise, we're also doing okay. Germán is feeling it a little bit as the sprinter who's on protection duties. Alves Machado not losing much ground here. He's lost a couple, maybe 3-4 bike lengths now, a little bit more as we pick up the pace near the top, but looks like he is okay. It looks like the group is in check, and he will recover his position before long here. So there you go. Peloton splits down to 95 riders, but we've got our entire team in the midst and set for a sprint finish on this one. With 30K to go, we have maybe an opportunity in our hands. Peloton, after that last little punchy section, there's 74 left. Now the front riders, I'm not worried about them. They're split up and not far ahead. But it's what's behind us. If that group of 82 catches us, there's likely going to be quite a few sprinters in that group. There's a good chance that some of the sprinters have been left behind. So 21K is a little bit early. But if we can get the tempo up and the pressure on, there's a small chance that we can keep some of the sprinters at bay, and we can head to the finish line and have an even better chance. Rajkovic, +5 today. +5. That's an 82 sprint, 79 acceleration, 82 resistance. We have not had that before. This is a first. Wykankis is going to just get the free toe, and we're going to ride for Rajkovic. Gazzoli to lead him out on a +2 looks fairly good as well, though a +2 still only led to a +1 on each sprint attribute. Yeah, that could have been better. For now, Alves Machado and Germán will remain in their position, but I'm not sure Germán's going to give us that great of a lead out today with that low energy. Jorgensen's looking good, Moreau is looking good, and then we'll have to get Mishik Smith on that duty of pushing hard early. And let's see if we can keep that group behind. They're only a minute 16 down, and with 76 riders, that's not that far behind. Alright, so there's Smith. It's down to just the one rider ahead, and mostly this is about that secondary group not making contact. Keep them out. We can really set ourselves up. 18K to go. I didn't expect a get water bottle now when we got it at 65K to go. Figured they'd make it to the end. I mean, yes, we had a climb, but it was only a climb. Just one. Moreau, let's get you ready. Still only a minute to that chase group. They're pushing pretty hard to get back up here. Germán needs to move up the order. Let's get him in behind Moreau. Moreau's right there to take over. So we have to continue on with that. Germán has already swapped positions. That's good. Smith tried to get on the back group if he can. Also makes it harder for others to chase us. 13K to go now. And that chase group has closed the gap slightly. They are pushing pretty hard. I mean, we're pushing pretty hard too. That's Caja Rural, of course, and blocking us off at the moment, costing us about 5 bike lengths there. But now we're going to come clear as we go up over this climb. And as expected, Germán is struggling with it.
Now just 10 kilometers left.
10K to go. That did not open the gap. Actually, that group on that little incline, as it stretched out and struggled, they made contact. 8K to go. We want to push this thing and get ahead, stay ahead. Germain's not going to last long when they take over on the front, which is also why they moved up the order. Actually, I think Germain needs to shuffle out of this group. No turn for Germain. Moreau with the downhill is going very well.
The riders are entering the last
Okay, it's down to 57, so we actually split the field further up than where it was. We still have a breakaway. Tim Vellens, dang, dude.
That's the end of the breakaway. The pack
Okay,
gave them no
Jorgensen,
chance.
your sprint isn't going to do any damage, but then that's going to bring us into the actual sprint territory. Sunweb in position, but that's not Caja-Rural. Caja-Rural's the one who's the real danger. Here's Gazzoli 1.3 onto Reykjavik. He gets a slow start. Hey. Genghis. Top 3 today. Can we beat Caja-Rural for second? No, I don't think so. Adcock gets there just ahead of Reykjavik. Reykjavik ran out of energy just a little early. Going at 2.7 should not have been bad.
We're waiting for the back markers who appear to be fairly
Shouldn't have been too early. It looked like that was a slight uphill at the finish. Slight downhill, but lead up just to it was a slight uphill. Penhote takes the win, Adcock, and then Reykjavik. As we've pointed out, there's a few riders who are very, very strong. It's hard to beat them. Alaphilippe takes 5th today. We get 3rd and 4th ahead of him, so we gain some points, but I think it's way too far behind Alaphilippe. We're just not picking up enough points. We can beat him by a handful of positions, but then we can't win, so we're only getting limited points anyway. There's a big drop from that first 1 or 2 spots. Consistently getting podiums is a massive improvement from where we were, especially against World Tour and a few of the best sprinters in the world. Part of me feels like we should be doing a little bit better, though. I mean, Reykjavik had a +5, and yet his lead-out riders riding hard did that much damage to him. He had 82 resistance and an 82 sprint today. He should have been able to stay on their wheel and only lose 15% of his red bar, not 70. He had about 30% left when he started his sprint. He came up just short of the line as a result when he went, and we had to go very late as a result. He should have been able to go at 1K with 70 to 80% red bar remaining. His attributes did not reflect in his performance out there. He was quick when he went, but he just couldn't go for long. I mean, why Kenkis stayed right on his wheel as he sprinted, and he was on a minus today with only acceleration. I mean, even Gazzoli was still top 10. But there you go. There's our consistent thing all race long. We can get 3 sprinters into the top 10 every race, but we can't get the top step. We have won a stage, but that was a punchy stage. And it's time for something a little bit different. We're at the Bink Bank Tour ongoing same time as La Vuelta, and we're already on stage number 2. Stage 1 was a sprint stage. No sprinters here. A lot of negative race day conditions, though. Really, really bad race day conditions. Rodriguez, however, +4, looking really good on that front. But some of those support guys, Carlos de Mello, Denny Ginn, -2s. So not helping. It's about 19K on this team time trial. So we'll see what we can get out of these guys. But there's a few riders that really just shouldn't be participating in this one. And who that's going to be for the next round anyway. Like Moreno, why don't you just kind of slip out the back? Just go away. Go away. Vermark's already been pushed to the back, so the other guys will work in front of them. That'll be 2 hanging on. We just got to kind of watch energy consumption as we're going along. But Rodriguez is the one to watch out for because he is obviously the team leader. But he's also the strongest, so we want to get the most out of him, but we don't want him not to make it to the finish. First at the only checkpoint on this one, 12:56. We're also only about the 6th team to go, and nobody's reached the finish just yet. Okay, Butt was the other one. We'll get him to tie into the back and stay in the back, and then that's your group at the front working, getting us there. Now we just got to watch to make sure none of them run out of energy, and if they do, that they go to the back. 2.4K to David Killen. Looks like between Killen and Rodriguez, we will get across the line. Final kilometer. You can see we're actually catching the team in front of us as Rodriguez pulls across the finish. First so far by a comfortable 42 seconds. Bengal 52 back, Movie Star 53, and Kempish at a minute 2. So really, really good time. But we're early. We're very early. You can see the time's already getting much closer, but we're still on top so far. Can we hang on? We have a half-minute advantage over the next best at the moment. UAE comes a little closer, but 25 down. The times are very similar to each other. Dukenik 16 down, Memil 12 down, and that is a stage victory, and we're going to have the lead. And guess who crossed the line first? And we'll be wearing the leader's jersey from this second stage on. Yes, Pavel Rodriguez. At just a 74 overall, Moreau's having a pretty good race. Sitting in 12th place, has been on a fitness peak. That obviously helps, but very, very little team support, as mostly we have sprinters here. And we don't have any strong climbers. I mean, even Moreau himself. So to be in 12th place is pretty good. Gianpaolo Tentoni is just a short way up the GC from him, sitting in 9th, but the time gaps between them is relatively close. And that's a real indicator of how we kind of punch above our weight, because Tentoni is a much, much stronger GC rider than Moreau is at this point in time, and yet they are fairly close to one another, and we are definitely not riding for the GC. Roglic still leads this race. Roglic had a very healthy lead, but last stage, Roglic was outside of the top 10, lost more than a was that gap came down quite a bit, so it's back in contention. It was a foregone conclusion that he was going to win, and all of a sudden now it's looking like, well, it could go a multitude of different ways. Today, sprint stage, the last uphill section is right now. We're also getting water for the final time, and then it's a slow downhill descent towards the finish. Points classification, long gone. Alaphilippe is just way too flippin' good, and you can see some of the other GC guys over the previous climbing stages are climbing higher and higher in that classification. We went from 2nd and 3rd to now 2nd and about 6th. And the gap between my two guys is pretty small. I mean, there's only about 15 to 20 points behind them, meaning with a couple more climbing stages to come, chances are we're going to slip both riders outside of the top 5 or so. You can see, in fact, provisional right now, Waikankis is sitting 4th. So we've already slipped out of that classification. Roglic still leads by a minute 44. It's Mernick who is second. Mernick lost a lot of time on one of these stages, but gained a bit back last stage. Young rider, Tentoni is second. Moreau is 4th. Balaz there is, I believe, 10th in the GC, so it's 9, 10, 12 for those riders. And now with 17K to go, we still have a small break, but not a threat. We're set up for a sprint. Let's see what can we do. We've got a +4 again for Reykjavik. Waikankis is out of it now. Oh no, they're the one that's 4th. Reykjavik has dropped to 5th, so that did change. That was, I guess, one stage ago. Now they are 4th and 5th. Well, I suppose get free toe again for Waikankis, and then Alves Machado. Race day condition not so good today. where it counts. Germán at least finally back on neutral. Outside of Reykjavik, we've seen a lot of negative race day conditions throughout this. We had a few guys on fitness peaks. It wasn't a majority, but we definitely had a few guys that were well fit. A couple of those are done. It's a long tour. Only 7 riders off the back, so most everybody in contention for this one. Caja Rural and Sunweb pulling at the front, so again, they're feeling pretty good about their chances today.
That's the end of the breakaway.
There's the end of the break. Still those 2 teams working at the front. 10.6K to go. Smith.
There are just 10 kilometers left.
Okay, on to Jorgensen. We'll see if we can actually start pulling clear here with 9K to go. We need to get ahead of these guys. Now we pull clear. 8K to go.
Most likely end up in a mass sprint.
And now 7K to go. And now we just up the tempo. Let's see if we can do this more traditional manner. Here's the last little uphill section. Moreau pushing through that. He's got a little punchiness, so he can give a little bit of speed that others cannot.
5 kilometers to the finish line.
5K, still in the prime spot. So Moreau, for you, a little downhill. Yeah, it does very little behind him.
And they keep on attacking.
On to Germán. 0.5. 2.0, come on. Come on. Wow, that was quick.
The escapees have surrendered.
I said sprint, did I not? I thought I said sprint. Gazoli gave us a good lead out for once. 700 meters. Can Reykjavik make it through this? Wykankis really lost some ground there. Reykjavik! Hang on, buddy, hang on. Finally, we got one. We beat Penhote. Wykankis grabs 3rd as well. Got one. Okay, that is 1 sprint stage victory, 1 punchy stage victory, and it's now a good tour. 1 was not going to be enough. 2 was enough to call it a good tour. That was stage 17, just 4 stages left. Not much action left to happen for us in those final stages, but we have a good GC position. We've had 2 stage victories. We're doing well in the points classification, though it's out of reach itself. Alaphilippe today just 12th, so actually Reykjavik is going to gain some decent ground, so is Wykankis for that matter, but they're still going to be too far back. Gamma Rainsford, without any support, has not done well. Adcock, with really good support. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Has Adcock... I think Adcock's won 1 stage. So the other team with the top sprinters we've done really well with. But the other team that's just really freaking good at winning stages, Sunweb, I think they've outplayed us a bit in this one, but we have at least beat out Caja Rural. Alright, so here is how we're looking at this point in time. Still 12th. Just under 13 minutes behind. Just under 3 minutes behind Tentoni up in 9th. So that's a pretty tight contest there. That's a lot of Duquesne quick step in and around the standings. Unfortunately, though, it's Alaphilippe that they're running for, who is much more a puncher than he is a climber. Even now, 34, he's 77.82. So, dang good rider. So difficult to beat in a punchy stage. But in a big mountain stage, he can be beat. He led for quite a while. He's still 5th. So he's having a very good tour. Amazingly on same time as Dunbar. Mateo is close, so he could still get up into 4th. But you've got a clear top 3 now. Roglic, Mernick, Hagita, just 10 seconds separating 2nd and 3rd. Roglic is fading. He's 36. He's down to a 79. He's not what he was. Mernick should be winning. Mernick really should, but Mernick's had 1 or 2 really bad stages. Hagita, terrible on the time trial, but great climber. Not sure why we don't have an image for Hagita, but okay. Mateo, there's another one. Really good climber, but not as strong in the time trial. So, Uman, surprisingly, is a bit lower than I would expect Uman to be. And then Evenepoel is a lot like Alaphilippe in that he's a good climber, but not elite, but then is the elite time trialist, but also Ducanic. So these guys, Tantoni included, riding for the leader. There is how Tantoni looks these days. 80 in the mountains. So it's actually almost a good thing that we did move on from Tantoni and moved on to Rodriguez, because Rodriguez just won the Tour de France. And Tantoni, with that, wouldn't have. Not as good. Good. Definitely good. And I do miss him. Don't get me wrong. He has not done well since leaving us. He has not done much at all. He's been mostly a strong support rider. We've seen him at a lot of big races, but as the number 2 or number 3 guy. So that's a big reason why he hasn't done as well as he could do. I would still love to have him at my disposal. But Rodriguez absolutely has outgrown him. And again, Rodriguez is still only in his 2nd season. Tantoni is now, 5 seasons into his career? But yeah, Moreau's in a good spot in 12th, considering the lack of support. Points classification, 3rd and 4th now. 2 points behind Mernick, but way behind Alaphilippe. They've done well. They're just 2 points off each other. Penho, just a few points behind, so... there is one other sprinter up there, but then Roglic, Hagita, it's the climbers. There's only one other sprinter at all, besides my guys, in the top 10. This is what remains of La Vuelta. 18, not going to be for us. I'll try to, through the quick sim, send those guys in the breaks to pick up a few more points, but they're not going to do anything on the stage. Same on 19. It's punchy, but that's enough that it's going to come down to the climbers. We're not going to bother. Stage 20, same issue. So finally, stage 21. So we have one stage left to do of La Vuelta. We'll be wrapping that up next time. Of course, then we'll be focusing primarily on the Bink Bank Tour for the next little bit and seeing what we could do with that. We had that team time trial, 3 sprint stages, and then stages 6 and 7. So we'll be getting stages 6 and 7 of that final stage of La Vuelta in our next episode, wrapping those 2 races up, and then we're pushing into the later part of the season. We're still 17th. It's only been a handful of days, so it hasn't changed much, but getting that update, still just 2 riders left at the 76 range, down to 4 riders left in the 75 range, and then it drops from there. There's a couple names that have disappeared off this list. It's crunched up just slightly. Carlos de Mello showing up. Sad to see him go. Sad to miss out on Batajic. Really sad about Diesma, who came out of nowhere. Diesma was not there previously. I would love to get him signed, but we have no money left to do anything like that unless we sacrifice some cash and literally go and fire all of the staff again and then try to sign Diesma. And we don't even know if that's going to happen. I don't think I have any points left anyway, so I'm not sure I have any points to approach anyone new. So, sorry, not happening. We have what we have. We got Vermark, and it's absolutely necessary because we are still barely above the bubble. We've gone from 19th to 17th this season, but there's still over a month to go. So through development, things can change. Looks like Vermark actually just leveled up. Still a 78, but he's probably picked up a 10th or 2 of a point. You can see he is slightly higher than he was. His climbing, stage racing abilities went up. So, let's see, he was a 70, wasn't he? So now a 71. A bit more stamina and resistance, I think, than before. That's all he really picked up. Potential's not amazing, and he's already getting pretty dang close to it. We're not going to see a lot more out of Vermark than what we've already gotten. Wykinkis, on the other hand, like Rodriguez, still has some room to go. With the new staff, I don't have a look at the evolution of most of these guys, so we can't see when was the last time that Wykankis or Rodriguez leveled up? I'm thinking it's been a little while. Wykankis maybe May, Rodriguez probably similar, maybe April. So they both could potentially level up again before the end of the year. Gazzoli did level up back in about March, but it was a very minor level up. He did not get much from it, so I don't know if we're going to see him level up again and potentially bump the average up by passing Wykankis. Probably not going to happen. Rajkovic hasn't been that long since he leveled up, so I doubt he's due again. Millar and Ginn, it's been a little while now since they leveled up, so you could see something there. Still a lot of young talent with plenty of potential in that range. Young guys in that 74 plus that we could see something. But again, I don't expect to see any of them go past about maybe a 76. So our top three now are probably still going to be our top three in that 5-6 weeks from now when we get to the end of the period. I don't know if any of them are due to do any more leveling up. It looks like Vermark picked up maybe a 1/10 of a point or two, which didn't bump our profile as a team enough. He barely inched his way up. So that was a very disappointing level up as far as those things go. And then, of course, same with Gazzoli, who's still on the same 76s when we signed him a year ago. But now 27 years of age, you figure he's got to be close to his potential. But a 6'8 potential guy should still have a little something left in him. I would have hoped he would have at least broke 77 this season, even if he's still below Wykankis, at least something. Anyway, we'll see what we can do. He is right now expiring 2028. As we were talking about last episode, that episode has gone live, but I'm recording this still same morning. So in terms of timing, it hasn't been that long. Right now, I've seen 0 comments regarding Gazzoli in the argument against changing that contract. So currently, anyway, it's looking like there is some favor towards dropping a year off that contract, making it expire in 2027. And there is 0 against. So some for, 0 against, and a whole lot of just staying out of it and not arguing one way or the other, which means, well, the votes kind of carry in the end. If it's all one way and 0 the other, it's kind of speaks for itself, even if it's not that many people participating in that conversation. So right now, anyway, I'll still give it a couple more days and give it another chance here for somebody to speak out against. But if there continues to be no against and a bit for, then I think we will be dropping 1 year off of Gazzoli's contract, having him expire next season, which then gives us Wykankis and Rodriguez both expiring next year. Chances are we cannot retain both at that level, at that amount. But if we can hang on to Rodriguez and then still have Vermark, we're looking at 2 pretty dang good guys. And then by then, you've got to have like a Rajkovic into that 77 or so. So hopefully we'll still have our World Tour status secure by that point. But Millar is coming up in terms of contract, right? The salaries, Rodriguez, Alves, Machado's expiring, so there's a little bit of money. So you got about 25,000. You got about 33, 35, 40. So we've got a little bit over $40,000 freeing up. But if we also free up Gazzoli, then you're adding another 22,000 on top of that, plus whatever money we're making. So we're looking at 60 something, 64, 65 plus whatever the contract. I mean, this season, what did we gain? It's going to be at least that much and maybe more for next season. We're going to 130, and right now we're at what, 103? Oh, 107. So it's going up by 23,000. We got to figure we'll gain maybe 30,000 next season. So 70,000. I wouldn't be surprised if Rodriguez is asking for 70,000. So signing him still could be tricky. It still could be very tricky. He could easily be asking for 70,000. In which case, we could be then trying to re-sign Wykankis, a Millar and Moreau, and having still some money left to go after somebody else decent that just costs less in that 77, 78 kind of range, and hope that that's enough to stay in World Tour. But just because we finally made it and have been able to hopefully stay doesn't mean we're secure yet. Money is still so tight that staying in the World Tour is harder, and it gets harder every year as the teams get better and better. So still difficult time. Every year is a challenge, but come on, we're coming off. We got one more season. Next season, we can go for that Triple Crown with Rodriguez. I think we will try to aim to do that for next season. See if we can win all 3 Grand Tours. That is a huge ask, especially, as we saw, the Giro, right? Why we didn't win the Giro? Didn't have the fitness peak. Didn't have the objective. He was good. He got 4th place. But the reason why we won the Tour was because we had all of those things. So, can we win all 3 next season? Well, he'll have to be at least an 80 plus. At least, I think. He's not going to do it right now. Bring that time trial up over 80, add another mountain point, have him in 83, add 1 or 2 resistance points, maybe 3 resistance points, a couple stamina points. Throw those in there, and I think he can possibly contend for all 3. Vuelta is going to be a little easier because that's a separate objective. So you could probably land La Vuelta, could probably get the Tour. I think the Giro is going to be the hardest one to get because it's not going to have the objective with it, which means we're going to have some guys around him that do have that as their objective to give the proper support necessary. And we are losing a couple of climbers. Again, Carlos Namelo. So it's Sebastian Berwick. It's not going to be easy. We've got some work ahead of us. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. And bye for now.